Hey, you guys. Welcome back to another lesson with Mr. Lucas. It is so great to have you guys back with us today. I am so excited to see you all. Let's just jump right into it and get started with the warm-up, shall we? Our warm-up today is going to be something that you may be familiar with, and if you aren't, well then that's great. Our warm-ups for today are going to be tongue twisters. Mr. Lucas, what's a tongue twister? Well, thank you for asking. A tongue twister is a series of words that we say that mix up in our mouth and are very difficult. For example, one that you may have commonly heard is Sally sells seashells by the seashore. See, as you can tell, I was having a hard time thinking about it. Say that with me. Sally sells seashells by the seashore. As you can hear, there's lots of S's in there, so make those S's stand out. Sally sells seashells by the seashore. Sally sells seashells by the seashore. Now, it's not always about saying it as fast as you can. You want to start off slow and make sure you get every word and every sound in there. And then, as you get better at saying the phrase, get a little faster. Test yourself. Sally sells seashells by the seashore. Sally sells seashells by the seashore. Faster. Sally sells seashells by the seashore. See? And there you go. You can practice that a couple times if you want to pause the video. Next one we are going to do is more of a tongue twister. Red leather, yellow leather. Red leather, yellow leather. You may think it's easy now, but we'll go a little bit faster. Red leather, yellow leather. Red leather, yellow leather. Red leather, yellow leather. If you are having a hard time with these, do not worry and think, I'm not doing very good. It's all right, because even adults have trouble with tongue twisters. So if you already have a little bit of trouble speaking, that's okay, because adults would have trouble with some of these. Red leather, yellow leather. Red leather, yellow leather. Red leather, yellow leather. Now, the next one. This one will be toy boat. Toy boat. Toy boat. Toy boat. Toy boat. Toy boat, toy boat, toy boat. Try saying it a few times fast. Toy boy. See? Toy boat, toy boat, toy boat, toy boat, toy boy. Bleh. Say it a few times fast. I always give about 5 times fast just to help, or you can keep saying it until it messes up in your mouth. Finally, the last one is unique New York. If you don't know the word unique, unique means special or different. Unique New York. Unique New York. Unique New York. Unique New York. Let's try going a little faster. Unique New York. 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 Please remember that if you ever want to practice any of these, please feel free to pause the video and continue practicing on your own until you're ready to move on to the next one. There will be a few just to help you. They're great ones to write down just so you know how to warm up your mouth and your voice as you're going through some of these tongue twisters. Great, you guys, thank you so much for doing that. Now, for today's lesson, we are going to be learning about some questions that we ask ourselves in acting. The monologues that you find in this folder will be used for the next few lessons. Okay, you only have to pick one. I have divided them between boys, girls, and there's one monologue that can be both. If you see a monologue that a boy is doing and you want to use that, if you're a girl and you see a boy's monologue that you want to do, go ahead. You just might have to change a couple words to girl or whichever to make it fit, but otherwise totally works. Same with boys. If you want to switch any of the other monologues, you just might need to switch a word or two, but for the most part, I think they're all pretty open to use. I need to mention, a monologue is when only one person talks. Dialogue, means two. Monologue, mono means one person. So when someone has a monologue, that means that even though they're talking to an imaginary person that we can't see, they are only talking themselves. No one else is speaking in the scene. If your monologue, if one of the characters was talking back to your character, then that would be a dialogue and it would be a scene. First off, I'll be giving you different tips on how to memorize a monologue, and we will find what works best for you. For some, learning a monologue may be a little difficult. For others, they may be used to doing something like that, and for them, it might go by a little faster, which is totally okay. We all learn at different speeds. Okay, you are welcome to print out those monologues if you want and highlight. That's one of the best parts about when you get a script or you get your lines and you get to go through with a highlighter and highlight which lines you say. Boo, boo, boo. Boo, boo, boo. Here's the thing about memorizing monologues, my friends. How it's gonna work is repetition, meaning to repeat, is very important when memorizing. For some people who have photographic memories, they can look at a picture and it's boom, done. They take a picture in their brain and they've got it down. For some of us, it is a little bit more difficult and we have to take the time to do it. Please do not feel stressed. I'm not going to test you on your monologue. I'm not gonna force you to perform it in front of a group of people. This is for you, so that if you ever want to do a talent show at school or a show and tell and you want to try this new monologue that you learned over the summer, it's perfect for it. So, first tip, number 1, writing it down over and over again. Some of you may struggle with writing, and that's okay. If you are a person who does not like writing a whole lot, you can wait for one of my other suggestions. Writing it down over and over again really is beneficial. You write down the words and you look and you see the words. That is visual learning. Okay, you're using your eyes to start memorizing. And you're writing it down. Okay, so you're reading it, you write it down. So the more you write it, the more likely it's gonna get stuck in your brain. Number 2, reading out loud over and over again. This one seems a little bit more mundane or boring, but this is the one that I actually use the most. It helps me to hear my own voice over and over again. That means that you learn by listening. So you were learning by listening, by hearing yourself read the words over and over and over again. Sometimes it may be a little bit annoying for people around you, but if you have your own space, like if you go outside and you take this monologue and you're walking around, I always like to walk around while I'm reading the lines. If you walk around outside and there's no one around, then it's less likely that you will annoy maybe a sibling or your parent or your guardian. Now, number three. The third one is one that is more common nowadays to do, especially for you kids that are a little bit younger. If you have trouble writing or you have trouble reading, this is going to be one of the best ways to do it. Have you ever seen a movie with Tom Cruise? Your parents or adult may know who that is. He's quite popular in a lot of action movies. He has dyslexia and he has a really hard time reading his lines. So what he does is he has people read his lines to him, or he records them saying the lines so he can memorize them himself. Isn't that cool? You can record your voice and listen to it over and over again. You can have a parent or an older sibling read your monologue and record it for you, and you can listen to them say it over and over and over again. Recording your voice is also one of those listening tools that I talked about with repeating it out loud, because then you're listening to it on a loop and you just listen to it over and over. You can use like a voice memo in a phone, or if you record a little video of yourself on the computer you're using. If you want to do all of the above, you are more than welcome to. For those of you who want to write it down over and over again and practice your handwriting, which is perfect, you can record you doing it while you write down and copy the monologue on a different piece of paper. So then you're using your sight and your hearing to get that monologue stuck in your brain. Okay? Whew, great. Those are the steps to memorizing a monologue. Okay? You find one which works best for you. You do not have to worry about memorizing that monologue during this video. You can go ahead and worry about that afterwards. But while we are all quarantined and stuck inside or have some free time, why not memorize a nice little monologue? Then you can show your friends, or you can show your class when we go back to school that you memorized a monologue and that you're an actor or actress.
You can also pick your own monologue if you have one.
Great. While these do seem a little boring to do over and over again, I promise you, while there is a quarantine going on, you'll find that it's going to be fun to spice something up and to try something new. Practice makes perfect, and repeating it will always help you learn new things. It's like when you learn someone's name. When you learn someone's name, it's best to say it over a couple times just so you know and you've got it stuck in your head. Okay, now that you have your monologue in front of you, whether it's on the computer or on a piece of paper, let's talk about some of the basics that we need to know. To tie into our first lesson, let's talk about feelings. What is your character feeling? Remember on the first lesson that we did, we talked about feelings and how we have to put it into our bodies, say what feelings we were feeling. So think about what your character is feeling. Read through that monologue and think, is my character happy? Is my character sad, mad, angry? Are they annoyed? How are they feeling? And maybe write that down on your paper. If you're reading your monologue and they change emotions, write that where you think that changes. If they go from super happy at the beginning and then something bad happens, write the new feeling that you would have. Okay? And you are more than welcome to use any of the emotions I didn't describe. If a word came to your mind and you're like, Mr. Lucas, I had a different word in mind, go ahead and use it. You are open to your own possibilities. Go ahead and write that down on the paper or type it in a note on your computer. You are more than welcome to download the monologues. And when you have your own copy, you should be able to type your own notes or at least use like a marker in the toolbox in the computer to write those notes. Do not write on your computer screen. Now, once you understand that, make sure you know who you are talking to. A lot of those monologues say the name of the character that you are talking to, but think about how you're talking to that character. If you're talking to your parent, write down how you would feel talking to that parent. Think about the character you were talking to. A couple of the monologues are, it's either parent, there's a couple with mom, there's a couple with dad. With those monologues, you know that you're talking to a parent, right? So imagine what it'd be like if you said this monologue to a parent. Or with the best friend. With the best friend, think about how you would say that monologue to your best friend. And if you want to practice it that way, once you have it memorized or once you get it more familiar with it, go ahead and try talking to the character. So if you picked your best friend that you're talking to, go ahead and try telling your friend that monologue or telling your parents that monologue. You decide what works best for you. If you decided to change it, if you don't want to use the character they're talking to, I believe there's one talking about baseball in the boys one. If you wanted to change it to an older brother, you are more than welcome to. A lot of the characters, some of the monologues have characters that are already chosen, but if you want to change that character, make sure you change it in the monologue. So for example, one of the monologues is for the boys is talking about a boy not wanting to play baseball, and he's talking to his dad. If you don't want the person to be dad, you can change it to a brother, a sister, your best friend, a teacher. You can change it to whoever you feel more comfortable with, or a guardian, grandparent, whichever. Write down what you want from the character. One of the girls' monologues is about a girl who's trying to convince her mom to let her cook with her. So write down, what is it that your character wants? Okay, why are they talking to this character? Some of them have already been written down, but if you rewrite it, that's perfect so that you know what you were talking about. For that mom baking, we know that the character wants to help her mom bake, and because she wants to be a cook. So think about that. What does your character want? Why are they talking this whole time? Why are they trying to talk to their parent or a friend or teacher or whoever about this situation? And once you write that, and it doesn't have to be long, just a brief, quick little sentence, right? I want blank. I want to help cook. I want to stop playing baseball. Things like that. Perfect. Those all work. Writing those down are simple ways for you to start building this character. Now, like we've done in other videos, it is very important. If you want to, you can go back and use the things that we've talked about in these videos. So we've already done one. We've been writing down our feelings, right? The day 2, we did character building. You can go ahead and sketch another little body and then write the good aspects in, like we did with the Superman character and the superhero. You can do all of that with this same one. No, you won't be talking about superpowers or things like that specifically, but you can write, oh, if this is you, what are some of your positive traits? Is it are you shy? Are you talkative? Are you social? Do you love seeing your friends? Write all of those in the body on the outside, what is against the person, what's causing them to have a hard time with this, right? So, for example, baseball, one of the problems he's having is that the mosquitoes are eating him, right? Or baking, one of the problems is that her mom thinks she's messy, okay? Or the superhero, how is she gonna get superpowers? Okay, and you can even draw the character. If your character has a nice cool t-shirt on or long sleeves, some pants on, you draw your character. Ask yourself some of the questions. Sit your character down and think of some questions that you can ask your character. There's so many great questions that you can come up with to build your character. I like to call it actor's homework. It's where you build your whole character how you want. So you can create their own birthday, you can create where they were born, where they are. Maybe if you want them to be in Kentucky, that works. But make sure that it follows the monologue. If your character is maybe supposed to be inside, make sure you talk about how you are inside the house in that moment. Lots of those different questions that you can ask and build your character. What they like to do, if they have siblings, if they enjoy school, all those things. You can write a ton of different questions to help build your character. Perfect. So I hope you guys enjoyed this lesson today. I hope that helps. The next video that we are going to be doing is I'm going to have some projects where we're going to talk about more of those questions that we can ask. The questions that we talked about today are great starters when you get a monologue like this for you to start working through. So like I said, please make sure you memorize the monologue. On the last video, we are going to be doing an auditioning video on tips on how to audition. So if you have the monologue memorized, it'll be perfect for that video. So please have this monologue on hand with all your notes, and we will be using it again in the next video on day 5. Great. Thank you again. This is Mr. Lucas signing off.